Hello guys, I'm back. For the people in the contest, I'm going to upload the video on Wednesday. I've already recorded it. The winners have been decided. You'll know who you are on Wednesday when I upload the video. Now and I'll be holding another contest at 500 subscribers, so if you're new, I recommend you subscribe to me, because at 500 subscribers I hold a contest where you can win, $40 or $20 worth of merchandise depending on what prize you win when I do it. Anyway, on to the pay-per-view review. Terrordome match, starting things off with 10 unknown participants. They didn't get entrances, which was fine. That was no skin off my dick. This match suffered the same thing as the first Terrordome match. Too many people, bit spotty, or very spotty actually, and not good enough camera work. And that's really all I can say. I like the finish where you had Jay Lethal punch the shit out of Sanjay Dutt, and Sanjay Dutt was left hanging upside down, and Jay Lethal climbed out. But as I said, the camera work was terrible, and it was this spotty match with too many people, and they could just never get the cameras right, especially around the start. They just couldn't get it fixed on the main, bit of action. And then, even though they were suffering from it, they still went for the ref who was on top of the cage. And then Mike Tenay, I don't know if it sounds sarcastic, but it sounds sarcastic to me. It's like, yeah, nice shot, guys. But yeah, I like the finish, 2.5 stars, whatever. Next matchup was the worst match of the night, which was Bimbo Brawl, Rhino versus Rhino, ODB, and Rocket Khan versus Q-Tip, Angelina Love, and Velvet Sky. Before this, there was a segment with Mick Foley. I'll just add right now, all the Mick Foley backstage segments, they weren't the best, but they were still entertaining, and I enjoyed them. Mick Foley just can't really have a bad segment with his, chamois shirt, and throwing the... I didn't like him bringing Socko out, but later in the night... I'll explain later. But the thing with him getting M&M's thrown at him trying to catch her in his mouth, I thought that was amusing. But yeah, this match, there wasn't really much to it. It was just a load of shit. It was just a bunch of poorly thought out spots and bad wrestling, kind of just a TV match if it was bad. And you had special guest referee Tracy Brooks in there, and special guest referees to make sure the match is fair. Of course, she was just like any other ref, where she gets distracted, fucking seeing a bird, or a wrestler looks like he's about to step in the ring. Hey, you can't do that. Meanwhile, they're fucking beating the shit out of them with chairs, and they're fucking oblivious to whatever's happening behind them. They're focused on fixing a turnbuckle pad or some shit. But you get my idea. That wasn't exactly what happened. But she was just a basic ref in this match. 1 star. I couldn't give a fuck. Next, we have the TNA X Division title match, Daivari versus Consiquences Creed. The thing with this feud is I don't like it. I understand how it's supposed to get heat. It's a simple foreign heel versus American babyface thing. But I think, in a modern... And it's very 70s or 80s. I think in modern times you could do something a bit more cerebral, especially with TNA, because they seem to... Vince Russo seems to want to do something smart. Like, he seems to take a lot of influence from movies and shit like that. But I thought this could have been done... This feud could have been done in a... Or at least Daivari's gimmick could have been done a lot better and a lot more cerebral. And... less sort of jingoistic, I guess. But the match itself was very good. It wasn't as good as... not very good. It was good, but it wasn't as good or to the level that last year's X Division title match was, which is Jay Lethal versus Christopher Daniels. It was still entertaining, but I felt the ending was a bit abrupt. It would have been 3 stars if they had a proper finish. It just ended like that. 2 3/4. They didn't hit their peak, is basically what I'm trying to say. Next we have the TNA Knockouts title, which was triple threat. Taylor Wilde, who was a champion, defending against Awesome Kong and Roxxi Laveau. This match was going really well. I was really enjoying it. There wasn't anything too bad about the match, and the action was really good. But it suffered the same thing as the last match, where it just ended pretty abruptly, and same thing with the Bimbo Brawl. It was just over like that, and I'm like, what the fuck? I wasn't ready for the ending. I hadn't peaked. That's the thing about wrestling. You end the match when it's peaked. It didn't peak. They didn't end it right time. Other than that, the action was good. 2.5 stars. I just wish it had more time for it. Next, we have the Monsters Ball match, and this is better than what I was expecting. Usually what you get, and my friend made predictions, and he said it was probably just going to be a hardcore spot fest with Beer Money retaining, and that's what it was. It was B-Money versus Team 3D versus LAX versus Matt Morgan. This was good, and what Monsters Ball match should be. You had, the hardcore spots and, all the wildness. I mean, you're not supposed to have ring psychology in a hardcore match, or, a match with 8 fucking men in it. There's no conceivable way you can really do that when it's just a free-for-all. But there was some, stiff shots, like a kendo stick shot against the face. You had Abyss thrown through a flaming table. Hernandez, thumbtack table. I missed that, so I just had to watch it then because I was on the toilet when it happened. But yeah, 3 1/4 stars for that. And Steve Mongo McNichol is a better wrestler than he is a referee. I read that somewhere online, and that's true. He really is. Well, my friend told it to me from something that was online. Next match up was the 3-way dance or triple threat or whatever with Christian Cage, AJ Styles, and Booker T. The thing I don't get with this feud is Christian Cage was put in the week before in special guest referee, saying you got to pick a side between AJ and Booker T. And I found it stupid because they made him special guest referee where he's supposed to be impartial, and then said you got to choose between AJ and Booker. That's fucking stupid. Whatever. But this match itself was actually pretty good. I felt it was a bit of a waste because it just seemed like a bit of something that's leading to something else, I guess, and so it didn't really appeal to me. Because Bound for Glory really should be what WrestleMania is, which is the conclusion to a bunch of feuds. WrestleMania has a set sort of thing where you have a bunch of feuds and they end at WrestleMania, or you at least have something that could be seen as the ending of the feud at WrestleMania. You should, because it is the biggest pay-per-view of the year, you want it to have the biggest matches of the year, which are the blow-off matches. Simple as that. But having said that, this match was good, and AJ worked really hard. There was some really good spots, like doing a drop kick, and Christian Cage threw him over, and Booker T's scissor kick off the top, and the Impaler, or the Unprettier, looked good off the top, and yeah, as I said, AJ worked very hard. 3 1/4 stars. Next up, we had Kurt Angle versus Jeff Jarrett with special guest Enforcer Mick Foley. Now, this match could have been really, really good, but you knew there was going to be a clusterfuck of a finish because you had a special guest enforcer, so you wanted to actually get him in the ring. And that's what happened. If you just had a straight wrestling match, I would have given this match 4 stars, because the one of 2 outcomes you would have had was Kurt Angle won, and it would be believable. Jeff Jarrett wins, it's a Cinderella story win, and you could kind of play it off as a Cinderella type of win, and he'd be back at the top level of wrestling. But no, you had the guitar fucking being brought in, a chair, and refs getting hit and all that kind of stuff. But when they were wrestling, it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I'd like to see some matches in the future with him. But just a pure wrestling match, no interference, none of that bullshit. Straight up wrestling, clean finish, and I'll be happy. 3.5 stars, and still match of the night, even with the shit that brought it down. Next up, we had the TNA World Heavyweight title match, which was Samoa Joe versus Sting. I was expecting this to get more time, but it didn't. What can I say about this? This was good at the start because you had them brawling through the crowd. It wasn't really a match; it was just, as I said, a brawl. And you expected there to be a brawl, but I didn't expect it to go through the crowd because it kind of does kill off some of the crowd because some of them can't see it. Where they'll beat the crap out of each other. Samoa Joe did a cool spot, dangerous spot as well. I thought it was cool just because it was dangerous, but some people would just say it's fucking stupid. Where he jumped off a thing and kicked Sting. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And I think Samoa Joe was in pain afterwards because he had a pretty strange look on his face, and Sting did a crossbody in the audience, and then when they got back in the ring, you basically had Samoa Joe eventually dominate Sting to the point where Sting was just completely bitched out. Like, Sting no-sold the fucking muscle buster and just fucking destroyed Sting, and Sting looked like he was going to be knocked out, and then Kevin Nash came out. What a surprise. Sting got the baseball bat, Kevin Nash took it off of him. This is what I don't get. You had Kevin Nash take it off him, and it would have been fine if you just had a clean finish, Joe win. Simple as that. I always said Joe should be booked like he was in ROH, and this isn't me being an ROH mark, this is me being a Joe mark, because when he was booked there, it was the same thing with Takeshi Morishima. He was such a credible champion, because he just destroyed everyone, and he should have done the same thing here. He didn't. And then he got the belt on a guy, because Kevin Nash hit Joe in the back with the baseball bat, and Joe lost. And there you got a guy who's old, who, is obviously Joe's bitch after you saw him get bitched out, having the title, and it's just a stupid booking decision because everyone knows Samoa Joe's stronger than Sting, so everyone knows he should be the champion. And I don't see how putting the belt on Sting can help him. Joe should be the person you're focusing on. He's young. He is the future. And with the no rematch clause, I just don't get it. You could have had Kevin Nash turn and Joe win. You could have had him hit in the back, reverse DT, no sold it, got up, still beat Sting, and then chase Nash out or something. That's just me. A lot of people aren't going to agree with my opinion. I give this pay-per-view 7 out of 10. Not the worst, not the best. I was only really, really disappointed with one match in terms of match quality, and that was the Bimbo Brawl. Everything else, I have liked. I'm pretty just with it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe.